Welcome back to part 2. We are covering the upper bit at the moment, and then we'll do where we are now. We need to get in the right position.
Once upon a time, we just used the yellow pages, didn't we? It's horrible when you're the guy at the phone. You need to deal with it. You have to phone somewhere up.
It's a beautiful place, isn't it? Looking, these are like the ones that the church wardens and prominent people would have sat in. Very rich people would have sat up there in the day, back in the old days. That's where the wealthy parishioners would have sat. There's more stained glass. And more beautiful carvings, of course. We're obviously on the opposite side to what we just were. Ouch. I'll move you to the next one, and then I'll zoom back out and cover the other bits. It's just easier for me to do it like this. There we are. It's extremely warm. I'll say that for today. Now we shall cover the high altar area. There's another one of these here. Look at the carving. Let's focus. That's better. Focus in now. Now you'll see what I mean. When you start to study the details in places like this, you're not disappointed. The altar screen is something I wanted to focus on as well. It is the same on both sides, so I won't go too far over that way because the piano's here and I don't want to, as I say, risk scratching it because I've got my bag on. Rucksack, backpack, whatever you want to call it. Not a man bag. I'll be a guest in the graveyard before I'm seen wearing a man bag, I can tell you that for sure. Let me jump. There's a moth in here. See what I mean about the lovely architecture and the furniture and stuff. Most of which is very old. This is the pulpit. And I will show you the lovely piano. Schimmel. Now I figured out that you can actually see the names from up here. With a bit of fine tweaking. These here, these here are sword rests. In the old days when gentlemen or mayors and people like that who've got their names mentioned on stained glass would have come into a church, they would have had swords. Gentlemen carried swords in those days. And it was a sacrilege to sit or carry an unsheathed sword into a church, so they had sword rests, and that's where you'd leave your sword on one of those. We'll go and take a closer look at it. Ouch, that hurt. That figure there, I believe, is Gog. And you've got Gog and Magog, the allegorical figures. Like on the clock on the church in Fleet Street. Gog and Magog chiming clock figures. And these are all different coats of arms. Probably of the people that paid for this to be made. DR, HT, and then you've got the year in Latin. So, I'll go back over this way. I won't film anyone. And that's us done then. We'll focus a little bit zoomed in on the stained glass. This one. That's that. Make sure I step back without knocking this thing over that is behind me. The ceiling really is lovely and stunning. Very, very impressive. Look, you can see it's even got ventilation holes incorporated into it as well. They were clever, weren't they, those Georgian architects? Right. Hope you all enjoyed that one. Thank you for watching. And we're on our way out now, and this gives you a pretty good rundown of the history of the church and London, actually. It's the first written records of a church on this site in 1115. So there could have been a church here as early as 1066. A new church replaces the Saxon building in 1489. 1683, Daniel Defoe marries at St Botolph's. 1704, Renatus Harris builds an organ, which is still in use today. That's that beautiful organ we see with the cherubs and things on. 1710, Sir John Cass founds a school in the churchyard. 1739, the church is unsafe and demolished. 1744, St Botolph's is rebuilt in its current form by George Dance the Elder, it's the architect. 1888, J.F. Bentley, architect of Westminster Cathedral, draws up plans to redesign the galleries, install pews and add ranks of plaster angels to the ceiling. So that's when that was done. St Botolph's is re-hallowed in the presence of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, following a fire in 1965, so 66 it was reopened. Today, the people of St Botolph's continue, as did the generations before, to worship God and serve the community. So that's a nice link. And there's the late Queen Mother. She was much loved by many in the East End, was the late Queen Mother. I think it was Noel Coward that described her as a marshmallow with a drop of arsenic in the centre. She could be ruthlessly cruel. Now this is up into the bell tower where you cannot go, but I would love to see inside there. As you know, you all know I like bell towers and stuff. So, yeah, looking out onto Aldgate High Street, and we shall go outside, cover some exterior views of the church and of his churchyard, or what remains of it. So, off we go. Back outside. And the storms have finished and we are back out into a beautiful, lovely London day. So, we'll go out onto the high street and we'll get ourselves some decent views of this church, or into its churchyard at least anyway, because there's a nice water fountain that just outside here. Doesn't work anymore, one of the old Metropolitan drinking fountains. Lovely old Georgian church, this one. Round, I don't know if you'll see it or not. I think it's round this, yes. If you go around the sides, so you can see the domes. Yep, you can just see it here, look. If I step back, there's no one coming along. There we are. Just there, look. You can see the domes. Yes, there's a lot of decent architectural details on this one. I'll point you down a minute, because there are people coming along. There we go, that's better. And off we go. Church is closed now. So, lucky I got in when I did. about that. Off we go. I'll point you up a sec because there's someone coming along. There we are, that's better. And there's the old Metropolitan drinking fountain I wanted to show you, so I'll show you that first. Then we've got an old police telephone box, so we'll have a look at that too. There's a few little decent features in this area. 1906 Metropolitan Drinking Fountain Association, erected by permission of the vicar and church wardens in honour of Frederick David Makata, in recognition of a benevolent life. January the 16th, 1905. It doesn't work anymore, but I don't think it does anyway. What I like about this one is it's still got its original drinking cup with it, and not many of them have got that. That's nice to see. But yeah, it doesn't work anymore sadly. Sorry about that. We're on Aldgate Square at the moment, and this is what I wanted to show you. Look, the old-fashioned. Someone said to me, "Oh, if you see any police doors or the old police boxes," I've not come across one of the old wooden big police boxes, but this is the nearest we've come across so far. Police and public call post, an original telephone, free for use of the public. The telephone is no longer operational. Please use nearby payphone. Yeah, it's all sealed shut and locked shut and everything. It used to be in the old days so you could get in touch with the police quickly. Also, what I want to show you is another sculpture in the city. There's quite a few of them around Aldgate, and this one's called Earthing by Jocelyn McGregor. And pause to read the description because I shall be moving off in a second. It gives you things of all the other ones located in the area, but this is Earthing. Which is quite it's interesting to look at. I like it, it's interesting. It's got snail shells basically with limbs and stuff coming out of it. Very modern. It's good though. Oh look, I like this bit. It's got the legs with snake skin. Another hand coming out of that one. Legs on this one. Over here is Aldgate Square, which was once part of the churchyard of St Botolph's. They sold off a big piece of land. If you watched my video on Thomas Eberl before, you'll remember I spoke about it. They sold off a big chunk of the churchyard, late 80s, early 90s, and all this lot got built around it in its place. But yeah, there was some famous burials in both church and churchyard. I mean, you've got, when the first church was here, the old medieval one, the Despenser family, Hugh Despenser was a favourite of Edward II, ended up being executed. But his daughter, Elizabeth Despenser, she was buried in the original St Botolph Church, not this one. Yeah, so there's a few interesting people bopping about. You've got a self-proclaimed prophet. I can't think of his name at the moment, but I will jot it down in the description for the history. Yeah, this is its churchyard. It's a lovely old church. Really is a nice place, inside and out. The area can be a bit dodgy. That's most of the east end of London for you nowadays, isn't it? But yeah. Over here, which I shall show you, is a water fountain. Not only is it nice to stand and look at and very cooling in this kind of weather, a lot of people bathe their feet in this one. It's also a little nod and reminder to the old days of the Aldgate pump epidemic, when that well, which was originally much closer to this churchyard, was poisoned by all the dead of the churchyard, and loads of people got ill and died. A lot of dark history attached to many of our London churches. I'll point you up a minute because there's someone sitting down, and you know I don't like filming people without their consent. It's fairly empty around here now. That's good. This is basically all that remains of its churchyard, really. Not very much. Let's not forget Thomas Ebrell, who featured so recently in one of my videos. Citizen and corn meter, which is corn merchant, who was shot by a lifeguardsman on the 9th of April 1810 in the shop of Mr. Goodeve, Fenchurch Street, and died on the 17th of the said month in the 24th year of his age. Sadly, the rest of it is very badly worn away, and there would have been more inscription. This is in concrete. Below Thomas is his father Thomas as well, and he died very shortly after his son from grief from the loss of his son, and it actually says that on the original headstone. But they never found the lifeguardsman who shot Thomas in the... It was a hosier shop, you know, like in those days men wore knee-length breeches and stockings, like, which are called hose. He was in a hosier shop of Mr. Goodeve. Someone came in, shot him, walked out, and he was taken home, died some days afterwards, and they never found the man. But it was said that it was a lifeguardsman, and a lot of people at the time who saw him, this supposed lifeguardsman, said that it wasn't, they didn't think it was a real lifeguardsman because he was very tatty looking, had a scar on his face, and the hair and demeanour basically was nothing like that of a lifeguardsman. Sacred to the memory of William Nichols, carpenter, who departed this life the 3rd of February, and the rest of it's all gone, I'm afraid. And this one is just patchy bits and bobs because it's so blistered away. You've got Arthur, Linda, the last named, something of Mrs. Mary Linda, who died on his passage to on his passage, something from the Mauritius on the 14th, April the 14th, 1842, aged 26. Also Mrs. Mary Linda, mother of the last three named, who departed this life September the 10th, 18, and the rest of it's worn away, aged 50 years. Then you've got also William Linda, formerly of this parish. His is more or less all worn away. And yeah, in the late 80s, early 90s, when this church sold off a big swathe of its land, 6,000 of its dead had to be taken up and moved to East London Cemetery, including Thomas Ebrell Jr. and Sr. But these are just some of the very few that remain. These are the old tombstones, and the name and lettering and everything's gone on them now. We get a view of the back bit of the church, and it's high at water. Doesn't look much from the outside, does it? You find that with some of the Georgian churches, they're very plain and minimalistic, shall we say, from the outside. When you go in, you get quite a surprise. Although a lot of the plasterwork and real lavish stuff was added in the Victorian era, the Georgians didn't go in for that kind of thing. They went in for plain and simple. And the architect, Mr. Dance, who created this one, specialised in that sort of thing. So, I don't know what this is going up here, but it's right between the church and whatnot, so we shall see. But Sanctuary by Naomi Blake, 1985. For all victims of oppression. It's just a a statue sort of like hunched in the kind of fetal position, being protected by this like the shape. It's very modernist, but its intent is good, so that's okay. We'll let it off. The church's crypt now, as I said, is used as office space. The crypt was cleared out years and years ago. All it's dead on that. We've got a couple of people there. Yeah, the crypt was cleared of all the dead years ago, and as far as I know, there's offices in there now. I would like to see in there, but not available, I'm afraid. This way. That is where the crypt is, but it's to say it's offices now, and they're not rude, but they won't let you in there. And we shall end our tour with something nice. Something good happened here, and when I covered the Thomas Ebrell story in this little churchyard before, someone asked me about what this was about, and I had no idea, absolutely no idea. So this is what we're going to have a look at now, and we'll end our video with that. So I shall say thank you very much for watching, and hope you all enjoyed this little wander into the present and the past. As with most churches, they take you back into the past with their past parishioners and memorials and the history and the stories associated to the people connected to the church. But anyway, yeah, we'll end with this one. Something good happened here, and it's a nice thing. Hopefully you can all come, and anyone that pops by might be able to do what we're going to look into now. So off we go. You scan this barcode or QR code, which I finally learned how to do, and we're going to have a look at this now. So off we go. And this is the Something Good, a really lovely idea, installed by Anna Masters, a mixed media and installation artist. Something Good is a project about kindness and nurturing connections within the community. Launched in London in 2021, Something Good is a participatory sculptural intervention which provides dedicated space for gift giving and sharing between strangers, friends, businesses and passers-by. If there is a gift on the hands, you are welcome to accept the gift. If there is no gift on the hands, you are invited to leave a gift for the next visitor. What impact could we have if something good happened everywhere? What connections are built when people are given a dedicated space to act generously? Can we build community through positive interactions with strangers? And what happens to our outlook on the world when our communities are shaped by generosity, hope and kindness? And this is the maquette for her sculpture, and it's sad to see that with the one in the churchyard someone's broken one of the fingers off, but it's the shitty people in the world we live in. It isn't the world that's shitty, it's people, isn't it? But a lovely idea. So if you are ever in the area, bung a pound or something in there, or a bottle of water or whatnot, and you might be able to help someone. Or if you're thirsty and there's a bottle of sealed water there, things like that, it's nice. Yeah, so that's what the Something Good is about. Hope you all enjoyed, and thanks for watching.